Hi everyone, it is me, Sailor Moon, and it is me, Sailor Mars here. And today, we're going to talk about, some of the things that are not right with AEW. And we know AEW doesn't like being scathed and shamed and guilted in any way. You know, we already know one of the first things that they're guilty of is going around and doing fake ownership strikes on, or sayings or strikes on folks' YouTube fairways, and hoping that everyone believes that it's the YouTube website making a mistake. But that's that is the first mistake. Yes, a ownership strike, ownership said can be given through the website, but ownership strike has to go through someone going through and saying that it's their work. So right there, making folks think that it's YouTube having a hang up when it's AEW themselves just fake striking folks YouTube fairways for whatever grounds. Another thing which is wrong with them is that they behave as if it's like football. It's not. They're like, oh, it's a ranking layout, you know, and how many folks win and how many times you lose. Yeah, well, you book all the fights and you say who wins and who loses and how they win and how they lose. It's not up to luck. So that's another thing. And, all the dumb stuff that they do on their show, that if anyone else did it, it would be called kid friendly or for kids, but AEW wants to, everyone to think they're for grown ups. But if that's true, then why the hell do you if that's true, why do you do things that folks would say is kid friendly then? Yeah. And another thing, they like to go around and scathe and guilt and shame and scathe and guilt WWE for doing everything that they say is wrong. But if it's wrong, then why are they offshooting from it? Yeah, and they like to offshoot from WWE after they shame and scathe and guilt them. And they don't really do very well in the watch time. I would tell the truth. Right, Sailor Moon? Yeah. Can I go on? You're right, Sailor Moon. Another thing about AEW is they don't do very well in the watch time. TNT and TBS don't really get a lot of watch time from AEW, either from their main shows. They'll bullshit you and think, oh well, we beat NXT, yeah, but that was to learn. As far as Raw and SmackDown goes, Dynamite and Rampage still is not at that rank and never will be. And they seem to be losing followers and watchers, or whatever you want to call them, as time goes on. And another dumb thing that's also wrong with them is that they got the mindset that they're WCW. They're not. They never will be. You know? And I don't care what Shao Kahn says or what Anthony Kong says. AEW is never going to be WCW. And that gets us to talking about the teams here. On one side, you got Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Hunter Helmsley and Brother Love and Michael P.X. Hayes and Nick Kong and Johnny Ace and Kevin Dunn. Folks that have the understanding of the wrestling business and been in it for years. Where on the other side you got Shao Kahn, Anthony Kong, Nick Buck, Matt Buck, Kenny Omega, and Christopher Daniels, who have little to no wrestling wisdom about the business beyond wrestling in a ring. And yeah. And they behave as if they're going to beat WWE, but as of right now, that has not happened. You know? So, whatever. And did I also talk about how I like to run around and ownership strike big and small YouTube fairways in a wrestling followership? Because either they can't handle shaming, scathing, and guilting, or whatever the fuck is wrong with them. You know? And I think the grounds to why we never ran, I never felt their wrath is that we're not in the wrestling followership, so that's probably why. You know? And, you know, oh yeah, Salem Mars, and don't forget, they lost two of their main wrestlers. They lost Chris Jericho and they lost Cody Rhodes. You know, the folks that everyone said made AEW so great. Well, I don't know how great AEW can be now without those two. You know? And since you like to, you know, so at the end of the day, yeah, right there they lost two wrestlers, so I don't know how great they can be. You know? And some of their followers out there behave way worse than any IW followers ever behaved like. So at the end of the day, those are just some, oh yeah. And sometimes when they have their matches or fights, the wrestlers either don't know how to wrestle right, B, make way too many mistakes in the ring, or C, they don't sell anything. So, yeah. So there you go. And if AEW doesn't like the shaming, scathing, and guilting of anything they do that they done, well, they know where they can seek us, but they're not going to. Yeah. One more thing, Sailor Moon, before we go. You're right. AEW are weaklings. They like to fear strike when it comes to the whole ownership thing on YouTube. They think they're WCW, but they're not. And they're never ever going to be as big as WWE. No need how many wrestlers they get, no need what they say. And if Shao Kahn and Anthony Kong can't handle that, that's too bad. You know. So anyway, if you like that, then follow us over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Or what's the last one we made yesterday over here with Sailor Moon and Sailor Mercury. I, Sailor Moon, and I, Sailor Mars, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.